What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? My best friend. After an argument with some kid from our school in a shop, we began walking away down the street. Kid, where you going, pussy? Friend, your mom's house. Kid, my mom lives the other way, idiot. Friend, nah, I meant your real mom. Air traffic control doing a poor job of vectoring an Airbus A330 in for landing. Pilot, you've left us too high, I don't think we can make the approach. ATC, you've got speed brakes on that thing, don't you? Pilot, after a noticeable pause, yes, but those are for my mistakes, not yours. A friend in high school on our way to a track meet. He was staring at a car in the parking that was really nice. When this bag saw him. Bag, why bothering looking at that when you know you'll never be able to get one? My friend, the same reason you watch porn. The entire bus erupted, and it's still one of the funniest things I've ever heard. A dude in my class called out a semi-friend of mine, that people are talking behind his back. In fact, that wasn't the case, as far as I know, and that guy said, well, you know what they say about you? Nothing, nobody fucking cares. So there was two girls fighting, and one of them looks at my sister, who was minding her own business, and says, you go to hell too. My sister, do you want me to say anything to your mom? It's gotta be the Aliens locker room scene for me. Hudson, hey Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man? Vasquez, no, have you? Edit, brain derped with the film title. English class in middle school. Kid A, yo, Kid B, your mama waited on me at McDonald's last night. Must feel like shit having a mom that works at McDonald's. Kid B, at least my mom gets out of bed to go to work. English teacher far louder than he realized, damn. The rest of us were laughing so hard, the teacher next door popped her head in to see what was going on. Asterisk context asterisk John Oliver from HBO interviews Stephen Hawking, may he rest in peace. Joe, and there may be a universe where I am more intelligent than you. SH, there may even be a universe where you are funny. Overheard by me, the school bus driver, one 5th grade student was belittling a 1st grader. When it was time for a comeback, 1st grader shouts out, congratulations. The bewildered 5th grader had nothing to say and went to sit down with her friends in the back of the bus. Joe Pine interviewing Frank Zappa. Joe, I guess your long hair makes you a woman. FZ, I guess your wooden leg makes you a table. Many years ago, when we were about 18, a friend of mine was arguing with another person we knew. This person was trying to be a badass and intimidate my buddy. He says my feet are registered. Without missing a beat, my friend replies, where? Health and sanitation. 40 years later I still crack up at this when it comes to mind. A guy makes fun of his bald friend by rubbing his head and saying, wow, your head is as smooth as my wife's bottom. The friend also rubs his head and says, wow, you're right. I asked my mother why she always wears makeup despite being in her 40s. She told me she wears makeup so she doesn't look like me. Edit, I was 9. Someone yelled out in a Walmart, I'm not ashamed of who I am. Another voice echoed back, that's your parents' job. I used to work with this like 70-year-old woman, she was our supervisor, and one day one of the ladies who worked with us told this old lady to kiss my ass, and the old lady replied, where do I start? You're so fat your crack goes all the way up your back. During WW1, Switzerland had a tiny standing army, but they were very skilled marksmen. Wilhelm II of Germany asked what 250k Swiss troops would do if he decided to invade with 500k German troops. The Swiss said, shoot twice and go home. David Letterman, I'm not as dumb as I look. Tina Fey, how could you be? 18th century British radical politician John Wilkes was told in Parliament by a political opponent, sir, I do not know whether you will die on the gallows or of the pox. Wilkes shot back with, that depends, my lord, on whether I embrace your lordship's principles or your mistress. If you weren't so stupid, what would you be? Asks the husband. The wife replies, without even skipping a beat. Single. I was the one insulted, but not the one with the comeback. I was out with a co-worker and her friends, and my buddy and I were leaving a little too early for her sensibilities. She jokingly got up in my face and said, "Smell that? Smells like pussy." A guy playing at the pool table next to us stepped forward and said, "I'm sorry, that must be me. I just ate." It was amazing. My grandma got into a fight at the grocery store with a guy who told my 9-year-old brother to move the fuck out of the way. They were going at it and his final words were, "Suck my dick, bitch." She said across the store, "If I could find it, bitch." Edit, not Walmart. Even better, Aldi. There's a story about Margot Asquith, a British socialite and author, meeting Jean Harlow and correcting Harlow's mispronunciation of her first name. No, the T is silent, as in Harlow. Chelsea Handler told Russell Brand, "The way you are looking at me makes me wants to cover my vagina." He replied, "Ma'am, if I had a rubber glove, I'd do it for you." Crowd burst into laughter and she even acknowledged that was good. My grandparents used to bicker. My grandmother generally came out on top, as she was fiercer. One time though, she was asking him to do a bunch of stuff, and he muttered, "If you'd lose some weight, you could do it yourself." She fixed her gaze on him, and glowered, "I'm thinking of getting rid of about 200 pounds of useless fat immediately." He replied, "You're going to cut off your foot." Quiet guy in my art class got called queer bait. He replied with, "If I'm the bait, then you're the catch of the day." On a construction site one afternoon, different trades were working in the same area. Like silly team sports, the Sparkies always hang with the Sparkies and the Turd Wranglers always hang with the Turd Wranglers, and anytime they're together it turns into a pointless dick measuring contest, usually not literally. One particularly childish exchange saw two men chopping back and forth, "My dick biggest, blah blah blah." Finally one of them spits out this classic, "I've got girth like a can of corn." And the clap back was unforgettable. "But you've got length like a can of tuna." Everyone busted up. Mr. Girth tried to hide his embarrassment, but was tied up. No comeback. And a room of men laughing uncontrollably. Good times. What are you looking at? I'm still trying to find out. Saw a clip of a stand-up comedian the other day, and he says something along the lines of, "The first time I had sex it was terrible, the first time I had sex." And a woman chimes in with, "You mean yesterday?" Crowd laughs for a while, and while the comedian is waiting for them to calm down you can see the gears turn in his head. Once it gets down to basically a few chuckles, he just says, "Glad you remember," and the crowd just lost their shit. It was amazing. A friend of mine was getting bitched at by these two identical twin girls in a class I had once. He replied with a troubling look on his face and said, "If you two are identical, how come only one of you are hot?" That dude played the long game as those two girls looked rather perplexed for the rest of the session. Asterisk fixed. I expected a better insult from someone of your upbringing and education. Glenn McGrath, Aussie cricketer, got frustrated with Edo Brandis as his every attempt to stump Brandis failed. This is what happened next. McGrath, "Why are you so fat?" Brandis, "Because every time I fuck your wife, she gives me a biscuit." On an Indian roast show, there were two bald twin brothers and the roaster told them, "You two confuse me on a biological level, you two look like testicles but you are both assholes." I am still waiting for an opportunity to use that. Not heard, but read. Easily the Spartans reply to Philip II of Macedon. As Philip II of Macedon was conquering Greek city-states left and right, Sparta was left alone. Philip had achieved a crushing victory, and Sparta was relatively weak and without walls. Philip sent a message to the Spartans saying, "If I invade Laconia you will be destroyed, never to rise again." The Spartans replied with one word, "If." I've been called worse things by better people. One of my coworkers was cold calling customers, trying to get appointments to drum up business. One of them told him to go fuck his hand, and he responded with, "I've got that penciled in for 3. I should be done by 4 if you'd like to come in for an appointment then." The guy laughed his ass off, and ended up coming in for the appointment. I was bullshitting with a couple of buddies, and may have suggested that I banged one of their moms, to which said friend replied, "My mom's dead." My mouth bypassed my brain and replied, "That explains the dirt. You sure do talk a lot for never saying anything." This happened about 5 years ago now. There was this one annoying kid in my math class in high school. Being loud, ignoring the teacher. He was mixed race, only bringing this up because it's related. He's talking rather loudly with the guy next to him. Teacher tells him shut the hell up. Kid makes a point that he's half black and being mean to him is racist, some stupid shit like that. Teacher looks him dead in the eyes and says, "I was talking to your white half, stupid." Hands asterisk down my favorite teacher. Me, we should learn from our mistakes. My friend, so that's why you have a younger sister? Easy, now, don't let your brains go to your head. Dude bragging, "I got a big dick." Friend, what happened? Someone break one off in your ass? My grandma asked my cousin, who'd had lots of partners and 2 kids at this point, if she was ever going to get married. Cousin, it's not the same nowadays. We don't buy cars without test driving them first. Grandma, yeah. But they don't let you put 100,000 miles on them either. Point goes to Granny. I have a bunch, but one of the more memorable ones was back in 8th grade. For context, I didn't make the basketball team 7th grade, but I made the team in 8th grade. This kid that was on the team the previous year but didn't make it currently was really upset and telling me how bad I am and blah blah blah. I told him that if he is better than me then why didn't he make the team, and he replied with, "It's just cause of my grades bro." So I replied with, "Oh, so you're just fucking stupid then." He gave up cause it was either accept that he was bad or accept he was an idiot. So the classic, "You're adopted." At least my parents chose to have me. I was 14 or 15 and had a quiet nerdy friend with really bad acne. My older brother had these 3 friends, all brothers 2, 3, and 4 years older than me and my friend. They were all gangsta, and started their own gang, which I always thought was really funny. Me and my friend walked in the front door. My brother and his friends were all sitting at the TV playing Halo. One of the brothers looked at my friend and said, "Holy shit Sam, I got 2 words for you, acne pads." Sam replied, "Cool, and I got 2 words for you, Johnny, speech therapy." The guy had a pretty bad stutter. He jumped right up and started trying to fight my friend. As long as I could remember after that he wanted to fight Sam, but we just ignored them. I don't know why this stuck with me for so long, it was such perfect delivery and shutdown of a bully. Edit. Unrelated but another funny story about these 3 brothers. They were walking through my backyard after playing basketball, mid-afternoon. I hear Johnny screaming, "Oh fuck, are you run," and the oldest brother, who was about 5 feet 1 inch, comes running up my driveway wearing his oversized jean shorts and Jordan jersey. He was trying to get away from a bat that had bitten him several times in the face and head. He wound up getting 16 or some high number of shots in his stomach because the bat probably had rabies. Odd bunch of guys who tried way too hard to live the G life, but weren't any good at it. Son, Dad, you don't know how to make a joke. Dad, I made you. Come on, stop telling me how to live my life. I don't tell you how to live your life. It's not like I come down to the docks at night, knocking the sailors' cocks out of your mouth. I can't remember the best one I've heard, but I can remember the best comeback I ever did. It is also, in fact, the only good comeback I ever did. I was in 7th grade, and we were in the locker room after gym. People were discussing shoe sizes because this one kid had enormous feet. I don't know if I have small feet, but mine were the smallest. They said, "Small feet, you know what that means." I didn't mind too much, but one kid crossed the line. He said, "Don't worry, fella, there's like 10 different ways to make it bigger." So I said, "Have you tried all 10? Not very impressive, but it shut him up. In class someone used the F slur on someone and he replied with, "I'm probably as straight as the pole your mom dances on." I work at a hotel. A few years ago this guest got into a spat with our security officer over something, but she wasn't getting whatever she wanted, so she told him he was full of S _____. Our security officer replied immediately, "No, I'm not, I took care of that this morning. But thank you for your concern for my good health and regularity." At this time I was about to bust up laughing, so I had to excuse myself to the back office, and as I was leaving I heard him continuing on with this lady, deadpan, "But I promise I eat a healthy diet full of fiber. It warms my heart to know you're concerned with me having regular bowel movements. So the next time I'm constipated I know you're thinking of me." It continued on, and all the more he's playing this deadpan and it's making the lady madder and madder, and I'm in the back laughing so hard I'm nearly crying. After that spiel was over though, she didn't give us any more problems the rest of the night. Anything I've thought of more than an hour after the insult. Yeah, know those people who tell you to be yourself? Don't listen to them. He's come up with more creative insults, but this is the most memorable. How appropriate, "You fight like a cow." Edit, "Thank you for the gold." That's what she said. But she didn't say it to you. You know that biceps come in men's sizes, right? Oh, I think you come in enough men as it is. I went to Catholic school and the teacher said there's a special place in hell for people like you, and I said back, "See you there." Gandhi, after a reporter asked him a question. Reporter, "What do you think of Western civilization?" Gandhi, "I think it would be a good idea. 1. Back in the day, being openly gay could be downright dangerous, but George didn't really gaf. Someone called him a queen and he responded, 'I'll have you know, my mother is still alive, which makes me a princess.' 2. Once worked W.A. Karen, who was actually named Karen. In addition to being a BTCH on wheels, she was also next level morbidly obese. One day, I was on the phone with one of our clients who, in the course of the conversation, complained about her to me. I took the complaint to our team lead. She said, "Yeah, I get a lot of complaints about her, but she says the clients don't like her because she's heavy." Before I could stop myself, I shot back with, "But Joe, if I were blind I'd still think she's a BTCH." In middle school a boy asked when I was going to grow some boobs. So I asked him when he was donating his. I'm still really proud of that one. Edit, I didn't expect this to blow up. But I remember this clearly. He was walking out of English, I was walking in. We met at the doorway and were chest to chest. And he looks me in the eye and says, "Grow some tits without missing a beat." I reply dead-faced, "Donate yours, then proceed to proudly walk to my desk with a big smile. Also I did eventually grow some boobs. They are small but they are nice." The greatest comeback I witnessed was when Kumail Nanjiani was on Mean Tweets and someone asked, "Is your dick multiple colors?" And he said, "Yes, every shade of your mom's lipstick." Back in high school, I was in the orchestra. We went on several big national trips each year. One year, a group of upperclassmen were busted for pot in their hotel room. Everyone except one guy was suspended and prohibited to attend future trips. The one guy who wasn't in trouble apparently hid in the shower and played dumb, and they believed him. So a week later the entire orchestra is practicing with the teaching assistant when our conductor enters the practice room, and in front of the entire 114 members of the orchestra, says, "Jason, all your friends ratted you out. They're mad. I'm mad. You played me like a fiddle." "That's what I play," Jason replied, raising his violin. Overheard some little kids bickering on the train. Little boy, maybe 6 or 7, says to younger girl, maybe 4, you can't even read. She says, oh yeah? Well, at least I don't eat my boogers. I was 13 years old, carrying a bunch of books for the teacher. Some joker thought it was funny to pretend to fall right in front of me. I told him, don't fall for me, man. My whole book carrying crew and his prank crew all started bursting into laughter. I didn't register what had happened until much later. Prob Dylan's last phrase of positively 4th St. I wish that for just one time you could stand inside my shoes. And just for that one moment I could be you. Yes, I wish that for just one time you could stand inside my shoes. You'd know what a drag it is to see you. It was an exchange between two co-workers a few years back, basically a slut-shaming gone wrong. Person A had only ever slept with one person, their previous boyfriend that they were still obsessed with. Person B was the opposite and would bang a different person every week. Person A, I can't believe how many people you've slept with. I don't understand how people can have sex with someone they aren't in love with. Person B, well, your ex-boyfriend seemed to manage it okay. Person A, silence as he dies inside. Edit, yes guys, he had an ex-boyfriend. Person A was a gay man. It's not a typo, it's 2020. I don't care that you broke your elbow. An older guy I used to work with was overweight. Like, had big old belly that hung out past his belt. This skinny punk always made fun of him, even touched his belly and would say comments like, when are you expecting, etc. Finally he had enough one day. The skinny guy said, damn, your belly is so big. The old guy replied, it's because your wife likes sucking dick in the shade. I have a twin brother. I'm older. He once told me when I came out, they knew it was a mistake and immediately tried again. I told him he was the buy one get one of equal or lesser value free. There was a fight after that one. Was out with a friend who was wearing a silly outfit. Someone came up and said, why are you wearing that? It's not Halloween. He replied with, then why don't you take off that hideous mask? An Arab poet met a guy on the streets, trying to belittle the poet. The guy said, I saw you from afar, I thought you were a woman. The poet responded, I saw you from afar and thought you were a man. In high school, we congregated in our cliques around the benches. One friend is cracking his knuckles and did this fairly often. Another friend saw this and remarked, you pop your hands a lot, you must jerk off a lot. The friend that popped his hands immediately looks at him and calmly says, you pop your jaw a lot, you must suck dick a lot. Weirdly enough, no one laughed, we just all shrugged and took it as a logical explanation. It's been over 20 years and I still think about the logic. Edit, wow, look at those numbers. Thanks internet fam. As for the informative comments about changing cliques to cliques for the sake of the story, I think I'll leave it as is. Working construction remodeling apartments and we were all done for the day. Hanging out in the parking lot chatting. Guy walks up, who we could tell he had Down syndrome, and asks what are we up to. The smart ass of the crew said about 6 feet 1 inch, and guy with Down syndrome said he didn't know they stacked shit that high. Best insult I remember to this day. Winston Churchill, of course. Lady Nancy Astor, Winston, if you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. Churchill, Nancy, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Once some woman was trying to road rage with my dad in a parking lot and he said in a monotone voice to reply to her, why don't you act your age and die? Between two ferns with Obama. Zach, it must kinda stink that you can't run 3 times. Obama, no, actually I think it's a good idea. If I ran a 3rd time would be kinda like doing a 3rd Hangover movie. Didn't really work out very well, didn't it? Is it cheating to use one of my own? I work in construction and a lot of the guys are exactly what you would expect from construction workers. There was one particularly loud one on this job. He would always go on about drinking and how much he drinks and the ensuing consequences. He went so far as to say he's never sold a car, he wrecks them, usually while drunk driving. I just recently purchased a house and another guy was asking me about it. The loud guy heard this and said, "What the fuck? I'm a journeyman and all I can afford is a basement suite in Langford, which is far away and considered sub-optional. You're just an apprentice, how can you afford a house?" And I just said, "I don't have any drinking stories." I was in Target, 2 kids, and their mom walked past. One kid was singing. The other kid said those aren't even the right words. The singing kid responded without missing a beat, "Yeah, well, this is the remix." I was getting a lift from my boss, when there was a bit of a road rage incident. Guy pulls out in front of us and my boss had to brake. He honks the horn at this guy. Guy leans out the window and calls my boss, who is a bit chunky, a fat bastard. My boss shouts over, "I'm only fat because every time I fuck your mother she bakes me a cake." Guy gets red-faced and starts shouting uncontrollably as my boss floors it and leaves him fuming. I knew a girl in high school who was adopted. She was pretty chill and open about it for the most part. One day in math class, another student cracked a joke about her being adopted and without a moment's hesitation she shot back, "Well, at least my parents wanted me." It was the best comeback I've ever heard. Your dick is of the size of Tic Tac, no wonder why your mom has good breath every day. This short guy at a bar was talking shit to my friend and he said, "I'm going to be the bigger man and walk away." To which my friend replied, "You will never be the bigger man." When your ex calls you stupid, you respond, "You're proof of that." I'd have to save my own. I had this one teacher in high school who taught computer classes and I had taken almost every class she offered, so I knew her very well and we mostly just goofed off in her class as long as we got our work done. I was trying to date her daughter throughout all of high school and everyone knew, including her, and every time I met something up or made a fool of myself she would hit me with, "And that's why you don't have a girlfriend." This became a trend and about 4 weeks after it was a thing she said it to me one last time and I hit her back with, "That's why you can't keep a man." She had been through about 5 marriages and had 1 kid with each and everyone knew because she talked about it before. As soon as I said that she got red and chuckled and the whole class stopped what they were doing and stared at me like I slapped her straight across the face. One of the overdramatic kids even ran out of classroom hollering, "May you live in interesting times." Didn't get this one till COVID happened. In high school, me and my boyfriend, we were gay, were walking together and some dumbass came up and said, "Why are you guys always together? What are you, gay?" So my man said, "Why, are you interested?" When I was in high school I had an ancient history class with a teacher named Mr. O'Neill. He was a really educated and well-spoken, but quiet, younger guy, a bit chubby with curly blonde hair, and liked wearing bow ties. In this same class was this kid named Jake, who was one of those kids that always acted like a smart ass to every teacher in order to try and get a laugh. He was so annoying he actually had a stapler thrown at his direction by another teacher, which is a whole other story I told the other day. Anyway, I remember one day Mr. O'Neill was having trouble reaching the string to pull down the screen for the projector. He would make little jumps and swat at the string, but just barely couldn't get it. Jake noticed and saw an opportunity, so he yelled out, "What's the matter, Mr. O'Neill, can't reach?" Him and his buddies chuckled to themselves like a bunch of goons in the corner. Mr. O'Neill replied, "No, Jake. I'm just getting my morning exercise," and then he started touching his toes. It wasn't the most clever comeback, but coming from a guy like Mr. O'Neill it was pretty hilarious. More importantly, it shut Jake up and a majority of the class started laughing at him. Mr. O'Neill became a bit of a hero for being the guy to shut down one of the annoying smart-ass kids that would always disrupt class. Told a buddy years back, "Fuck you." He replied, "No, fuck yourself, it's twice the pussy." You're talking a lot of shit for a dude in cum shot distance. There are approximately 1,010,300 words in the English language, but I could never string enough words together to properly express how much I want to hit you with a chair. Alexander Hamilton to Thomas Jefferson. Edit. Apparently, this didn't actually happen. I'm sure I've heard better retorts, but this is one I vividly remember. When I was about 12, I stopped doing my homework, which frustrated my parents, as I had been a good student. My mom, also frustrated with my father, exploded on me like never before. "You son of bitch." I replied, "Well, what does that make you?" I locked myself in my room for hours, arguing with my mom for the millionth time, and she would always say something along the lines of "You're just like your father." One day I got tired of it, and told her, "I'm not like my father, I'm smarter than him." "Oh yeah? And why is that?" "Because I had a girlfriend like you and I broke up with her. Didn't talk to me for a couple of days." Who put 50p in the dickhead? Probably not the best of all time, but here goes. At work one night my crew was cleaning up trash out of the middle of the interstate inside of a lane closure. We get up to where another crew is working on machines, and these guys are assholes. They seriously act like they are God's gift to construction, so the conversation goes as this. "Me, can y'all move over for a second so we can get by?" Douche to his guys, "Come on guys, let's get out of this little lady's way so she can pick up our trash." Douche to me, "Y'all are slower than hell, plus look, you even missed some." Me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can fit you in this bag. I'll come back after I open a new one and maybe we can squeeze you in there." Good old bit of cricket sledging aimed at an incoming batsman. Bowler, "Hey, how's your wife and my kids?" Batsman, "The wife's fine, the kids are retarded." Person A, "Fuck you buddy." Person B, "I bet you would if I had tits on my back." Boy, my dick is so hard. Girl, to find. I was at a friend's house and his drunk parents were fighting, nothing new. Mom yells loud enough for me, friend, and his little brother to hear. "Oh, big tough man. Why don't you go tell those boys why you can't even get it up?" Dad replies, "They already know why, and if you go look in the mirror you'll know why too." We laughed so hard she kicked us out of the house. Kid in my class with big ears called my a fairy. Being the cool, fantasy enthusiast I am, I snapped back calling him an elf. He smacked my head on a brick wall for my efforts, but still. Okay, I don't often outright brag on Reddit, but I'm pretty proud of this one. Pride, that'll be funnier in a sec, I promise. A lady in one of those motorized carts was parked across the entire aisle at Wally World. After standing there watching her do basically nothing at all for 30 seconds, I got annoyed and squeezed past. She finally shows the first signs of consciousness I'd seen so far, and calls out a caddy, "Patience is a virtue." To which without skipping a beat I responded, "And sloth is a vice." For the record, she clearly wasn't actually handicapped, she was just. What's the next step above morbidly obese but not quite bedridden yet? Thank you for watching the video. Welcome to Reddit Wisdom. Here you will learn the wisdom of the crowd, the wisdom of Reddit. Please consider subscribing for more Reddit wisdom.